Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Conscious Leadership Podcast with your host, Elise Abraham. Today, I am excited to welcome our guest, our feature leader of the month, Amber Hansel. So, welcome, Amber. Yay!
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. I am so grateful to have met you, to have had a conversation with you, and to really go through the work that you're doing as a leader, as a parent, doing it consciously, and enjoy all at the same time with all the stress and everything that's happening. But what you're doing, what you're doing is such a needed for all entrepreneurs, especially for women entrepreneurs, because you actually work with lead generation. But I'll get you to introduce yourself, and this is why I wanted to have you on. So please share with us who you are, who you serve, and how you are impacting lives with your offerings.
Yeah, I'm Amber Hansel, and I am an empowerment mentor. So I really help online service providers, so that's virtual assistants, social media managers, coaches in the online space that are usually mothers, and I help them build communities in their online space, really utilizing all of their strengths. And yes, lead gen engagement is building a community around you. And so I love to connect people with other people. And that's really what building a community is, up around you. And yeah.
Well, I know a little bit about you, and I'm grateful that you're in my sphere of influence, that you can influence me positively. And I do have questions that I would absolutely be using for myself. But what I found is, as I was reading a bit more about your story, you started your business as a new mother, a new parent, a new wife. It was like everything was new all at once. And then you went into a niche market because you were doing something else before what you are doing now. So please share that story with us.
Yeah, so about 6 years ago, I was pregnant with my second child. I had a toddler at home, and I kind of went into the online space. I knew that my administration skills from the last decade or so could be used and transferred. And so, I started as a virtual assistant. And then going into social media, because this was kind of back, I say, before it was cool to work online, and so I was doing social media management. But what I really found I loved about social media management was the engagement of having conversations with people, of finding different people. And so that's when I had an aha moment when one of my coaches at the time was like, what if you just do lead generation engagement? Just do that. And I was like, I can do that? It was just this what? And so that's where it really started. And then the last 4 years, that's what I've been doing. I've been honing in my skills. I'm building a community, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook groups, email marketing, all of that different platforms coming together to build up a community.
And that's so needed, because we live in a time where our community is also online, and we have to start establishing these relationships online. For women, and for myself as well, when I first started off, because I knew absolutely nothing. And I've read your blogs, which are brilliant. I love it's brief, it's direct. It's like you don't have any time to to go into the long story, but it is so helpful. So, thank you for that. What I found was, when I came in and I was like, all right, I need support. So of course I hired an agency versus a virtual assistant, because I knew nothing about virtual assistant. I wasn't even sure about the entrepreneurial space, right? Because business is a whole other entity. I was just like, okay, we're posting, but what's happening? They're like, oh no, the people will come. yeah, but why is it not coming? Because I knew we had a good product. I knew that we had a message. It wasn't just some random, do this and hit 10 likes and I will do whatever you want. Like, it wasn't anything like that. It was very intentional why the business started, as most people, start off, and they have a brilliant product that can help others. But not many people include engagement. And I see that even now with VAs. They will say, I will be your social media manager. I will take you from 0 to 1 million. I'm just exaggerating the number, but they don't do engagement. And it's in the engagement that you can go from 0 to 1 million authentically and genuinely. So how do you, like when you're working, because I'm sure you're working with mostly VAs, you're guiding them through this process. How do you get them to include engagement in their offerings? Because that's a lot of time consuming work.
It is, and it's understanding. So if you decide to do it, which I highly recommend, because that is where you're going to get the results as you build a organic community, is that engagement does not need to be an all-consuming task. It can be so intentional. 15 minutes a day starting with, and there can be a lot of comments and a lot of messages sent in 15 minutes, as long as you are aware of who's in the audience, how to talk to them. But when we're engaging, and if you're engaging for someone else, there's understanding their brand voice. Knowing there's a lot of nuances, everyone speaks differently, everyone types differently. Some people like these emojis, some people, say, hey girl, some people don't. It's understanding the psychology behind different people in order to engage with them and, even engage for someone else and pretend that you're someone else, because that's a lot of work and it's a lot of energy. And so it's understanding that, and tracking is so key, because that is going to allow you to not leave anyone behind that is in your cycle. Understanding what messages need to be sent and knowing what type of comments are going to start a conversation, and not just putting love this, because how is someone supposed to respond to that? Thanks. That's not a conversation. A comment to me is like your 3-second first impression. You gotta how are you gonna start a conversation so that it can continue on in the DMs? Because that's where we want to always take people, is then into the DMs, because I say the magic happens in the DMs, where you can have that conversation, you can build that relationship, start that community, make a sale, continue it on from there.
This sounds very holistic. It sounds extremely holistic. And there are others who do engagement, and they do say, I do 15 minutes per channel or whatever it is that they do. And then some people even break it down. And I'm just referring to your tracking piece, where they say they will engage 5 minutes before their post goes up, and then the 10 minutes after their post goes up. I guess it's to be able to also push a post. So as you said, there's the psychology of the people, but then it's also being able to work with the algorithm all at the same time to push your content. When people are engaging for this lead generation piece, and they want to be their authentic selves, regardless if they're doing it themselves, if they're solopreneurs, or they have a support, a VA that's helping them or supporting them because they're still in there as well. What should they consider? Because sometimes some people just go straight, I get in my DM sometimes, they didn't even follow me yet. They haven't liked nothing. And then they're like, I have XYZ ABCs. Are you open to this free call? And I'm like, not interested, or I just don't even respond. Or I get they do the friend request, or they do the connection based on whichever channel it is. And then I get the hi, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. How you doing? How is business? And like already within, like, as you said, that 3 seconds, within like the second sentence or third sentence, I'm kind of like, depending on the person, I'm like, what do you want? Like, what do you like? And I just go straight to it. Like, what do you want? Because it's not genuine. It's not authentic, right? They're just doing it because they're there to make a sale.
Yep.
Based on what you said on the psychology piece, how can people be authentic, be genuine to build their community, but at the same time, keeping in the background that, hey, I have my sales ecosystem that needs to be able to support the business.
Yeah. And this is where your content comes into play, because your content should be doing the selling, a lot of the selling for you. And the conversations are where you are building that relationship. You're getting to know them. You are seeing, hey, would this person even be a fit for my offer? Because we don't have time to waste as mothers in, with people. Like, there are different people for our business, but if we're talking about sales, then we want to make sure they're a fit for our business. And so the conversations are to get to know that person and what really is their problem, without directly asking them what their problem is. It's a back and forth process. And I always say, just get curious and keep asking questions. Whenever you feel like you don't have anything to say, ask a question. And then that will keep the conversation going, and it'll help you build that relationship to the point where at some point you may say, wow, this person would be like an amazing fit for my offer. And that's when you say to them, hey, I know that you are experiencing XYZ from these past conversations. I feel like this would help you a lot. We could get to your goals this way. Because you've already talked to them. You know what their pain points are. You know their desires. You know their transformation that they want.
Mm-hmm. And
so
I
you
love
wrap
that.
it all together. And at the end, they should be watching your content, your posts, your stories, all of that, your videos. They probably read some blogs. They have probably done research behind your back.
No, but and that's a very valid point, because people don't share that first piece, right? Your content is already selling your information without even selling your information. It's selling it based on, because you're already targeting it for your specific audience anyways. And these are the people who are saying, hey, this is my area where I need help. I need support. Delisa seems like the right fit. Let me take a look at what else she's doing, right? Okay, yeah. I like it. You get a couple of likes on a couple of things, and then as they continue to watch and they started commenting, oh, this was such a valid point. And as you said, right, it starts with them already trusting, right? They're already trusting you, or they're liking you, not pushing the like button, even though, yes, that's important, but they're liking you and saying, I could relate to you and I understand you. And then by the time you get into DMs, depending on, how the comment section goes, and as you said, that 3-second first impression is important with every single person being genuine, being true. And then by the time you end up either in the DMs, it's just really like saying, how you doing? Let's get on a call. Not to sell them anything, in actuality, is really just to talk to them and say hi. And what's going on? And oh, hey, you know what? I really appreciate you liking the content. And I can sense that, maybe you're having issues here. How has that helped you? Or how has that supported you? And a really nice layout of for what you do. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. My question next for you really is, how did you do this with a newborn and a toddler? And when you're starting a business, you don't necessarily have money showering into from the heavens coming into your home, right? Like, because to start a business, you have to spend some money somewhere.
Yeah.
Take us on that journey, please.
Yeah. So at the very beginning, I was doing data entry for people. I was doing website designs, and I had never designed a website in my life. But I figured it out. I did it. I was blogging for other people. I was literally doing everything. And then that's when I slowly started niching down to social media, and I got a bunch of clients, and then I started niching down to lead gen, and I was booked out.
Mm-hmm. And so how did you handle that as a parent?
Yeah, it's early mornings, late nights, nap times, understanding boundaries, communicating with my family and letting them know, okay, this is what I need, this is what I'm doing. And that was not a smooth ride at first. And looking back, I still don't even know how I did it. And some days I still don't know how I do it. But I think we just do it. And I think that's, we can just choose to, sit back and like wonder, or you can just take action. And I think sometimes as moms, we can just take action. I've been on calls when my kid's like wants a snack and does this. And right now we're homeschooling. And so it's a balance of, okay, during this time, this is what's happening, and really having certain days for certain things and mixing it all together. But as my kids have gotten older, it has gotten easier because they're more independent, which is such a nice feeling to have them. They can just go play. I can speak to them like little humans and they understand me. And so I think that it evolves, right? From the very beginning to now, it's been such an evolution and a journey. And I think even within myself of knowing how I want my business to run. I don't want to work all these hours being attached to my computer. What are the boundaries to put into place so that I can enjoy the time with my kids that I say I want? Why do this? So those boundaries and communication has been the most important thing.
Yes, I love that you brought up boundaries, because what you just shared was there was boundaries in your work, boundaries in your home, boundaries with your family. Like, everyone knew what the boundaries were, and you're still being flexible and adaptable as you're still trying to figure out, where am I going? How is this going to help me? And you're holding on to this vision. Was there a time, especially in the early stages, where you just broke down and you thought to yourself, should I just get a regular 9? Should I just go back to my 9 to 5? Because I like, this is too much. And if so, what did you do? How did you just kind of emerge like the phoenix, dare I say?
Yeah, I think I have had it a few times where I'm just like, I don't think that this is going to work. I don't think that I can do this. It's going to be easier. But it always comes down to what's easy and what's hard. And you have to choose your hard. I think it's come down to when I'm in those hard times of leaning on my support system that I have created over the years. My husband is amazing support, and this really wouldn't have happened without him. His support, and I have people in the online space that have been with me for a really long time that I continue to go to for support. And it's really leaning into them and trusting myself and knowing that it's going to be okay. It's hard right now, but I also, choosing your hard is I can go get a 9 to 5. Who's watching my kids on the sick days? Who's paying for daycare? How am I working my work schedule around bus pickup, school pickup? If I go back to work, there's no more homeschooling. How does that all look together? And choosing what's hard, that's hard, but this is hard too. So which one do I want to do? And so it's a mindset. You really have to lean so hard into your mindset. And I think entrepreneurship, they say it's 80% mindset and 20% strategy. And that is, some days it's 99% mindset and you're just flying by the seat of your pants hoping, because, that's what it's going to be some days. We have to continue to lean into ourselves and trusting ourselves, which some days is the hardest thing we will do.
That's wonderful and so well stated, because I completely understand as a parent myself, and I do homeschool as well. My daughter goes some days because she does work school, so she does go some days outside, and they're doing the work, and they also go back in the classroom in the evenings, but it just depends. And as she got older, it became a lot easier. Yes. They become more independent. One of the things that I really wanted to ask, and I love that you talked about the boundaries. You talked about choosing your heart, picking the boundaries. So, and then you talked about the mindset after the boundaries, because that's huge, a huge piece. So how do you go from all of that? Now you have your strategy, which is your plan, to start implementing your tactics, which is your actions, consciously. How do you do that consciously?
Yeah, it's understanding that each thing you do is going to have a result, and knowing, okay, if I do this, it's going to do this, and then do this, and really being intentional with the things that we do. The more times that I can put that intention in to, whether it's engagement or, sitting down to journal or meditate, and having that, I'm going to do this, it doesn't have to take long, because sometimes we get in this, it's going to take me so long to do this. I'm not going to have time. I don't want to do it. But when we sit back and take 5 minutes, that 5 minutes can change your mindset and the trajectory of your day. And I feel like that intention is a lot better than trying to sit and go, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. If you just do it, then it's going to get easier. And we are 100%. All about simplicity.
Simple is good. Yes. I like simple very well. I think everyone likes simple. It just, it flows, because it's where you get that innovation and the creativity, right? Through the simplicity and through the simple ways.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to not only other VAs, but entrepreneurs who perhaps are VAs or will be VAs? And it doesn't matter if they live in North America or globally. Let's say they're like, I'm young, I am in my mid-20s, so life is beautiful. your biggest stress is like, I'm going to the university, or maybe I'm starting this business. But then they get into, a family. Maybe they're now getting married, because I'm coming across a lot of younger VAs who, when they started off, it was to pay for tuition, paying for their supporting their family sometimes, because that's the only income, because due to for whatever reason. So what advice would you give new VAs who are saying, this is the career that I'm going to choose, but then they also have to start a life for themselves with building their new family?
Yeah. Integrate time to yourself, before anything else, before all the craziness, and get into that habit of taking care of yourself first, and then your family, and then your business. Because without yourself, as you know, we are leaders and guides in our business and in our house. Every emotion and every action that we take, the others follow us. And you know those days when you wake up and you're grumpy and you can't get with it that day, then everybody else in the house feels the same way.
Yep.
And it just goes downhill. But if you wake up, you realize you're grumpy, and then you go, okay, mommy needs a timeout. And you go to your timeout chair. I have a comfy reading chair in my room, and that's my chair. And so I hang out there, and even for 5 minutes, just recenter yourself. And, you know, sometimes I journal, I meditate, I go outside when it's nice and sunny out. You know what works for you. Maybe that's going to the gym. But taking care of yourself first, and then you can give to others. Because, you know, once your cup is full and overflowing, it'll stay. You know, as soon, you know, you don't have to get to the bottom to realize that you need to take care of yourself. You can keep it full every single day. And it's going to help you feel better, and that's going to help others. And it's going to make your life run smoother and your business run smoother, because you're going to have the energy to show up in your business. You're going to have the energy to show up in your life for people. So take care of yourself.
No, that's a good one. I love taking care of yourself. And, you know, we're coming to the end here, wrapping up, which is wonderful. Good timing. Your work, yes, you do lead generation, but also make it exceptionally clear when people visit your website or even on your social media channels that it's not only the lead generation. Like, you mix the spiritual with the physical, if that makes sense. Like, you're integrating right, the things that we have to do internally, the mental work, the spiritual work, like the meditation and getting out in nature and our body, and the prayer piece, as well as into, because you're sharing that it directly impacts how you engage with your community, how you start building your community. And that is a beautiful thing. Final words before I ask you for your information to share with our audience. Final thoughts.
I don't say just trust yourself. You have the skills and the knowledge to do it. You just need to go take action and trust and lean into yourself.
I love it. So for our audience, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at the Amber Hansel, and LinkedIn at Amber Hansel, and my website at Amber Hansel. You put in Amber Hansel, you will find me. I am very searchable. Everything's within my name, so you can absolutely find me, connect with me, send me a DM, send me an email. I would always love to chat with you.
Thank you so very much for joining us today, and I will ensure that Amber Hansel's information is in the comments below. Connect with her. It will also be in the caption and in the notes. But I mean, probably don't even need it, because all you got to do is type in Amber Hansel, because her name's on everything. Thank you all for joining me today. Have an incredible time, and let me know how you are consciously leading. Bye.
Bye.